Do you know what will destroy marriages? Stick around and find out today on The Beat. Hey everyone, my name is Alan Parr. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Here on The Beat, we release a new video every single Tuesday, and today we are talking about things that will completely and totally destroy our marriages. And so today I want to take a look at one of my favorite passages of Scripture, Ephesians chapter 4, verses 25 through 31. And so here in this passage, Paul is contrasting the person that we used to be. He calls this the old man. That's the old way of thinking, the old way of acting, with this new man who we are now that we have the Spirit of God inside of us, filling us and controlling us and guiding every single decision that we make. And so from this passage, I want to point out 4 things that will completely destroy our marriages. Number 1, dishonesty. Paul says here, let each of you lay aside falsehood and speak truth to your neighbor. And so this could be anything as simple as exaggerating a story or making a false promise and saying you're going to do something but not following through, or coming up with an excuse just to save face because somebody caught you doing something you didn't expect for them to catch you in. So it's just easier to make an excuse rather than tell the truth, or just straight up coming out lying straight to the person's face. Any of these things will damage trust. And as the old saying goes, trust takes years to build, only seconds to break, and a lifetime to repair. Number 2 is anger. Notice Paul says here, be angry, but do not sin. So he's not suggesting here that you have no right or reason to be angry, but rather when you do get angry, that you do not sin. How do we do that? One of the ways that we do that is to remain angry and refuse to resolve conflict. Paul goes on to give us a time frame in which we should resolve all of our conflicts. He says, do it before the sun goes down. Why should we do that? It's because that whenever we don't do that, he goes on to say that we are giving the devil an opportunity. An opportunity for what? It is to fill our minds with thoughts of anger, thoughts of bitterness, thoughts of revenge, thoughts of unforgiveness, thoughts of temptation, negative thoughts about the other person. So remember the principle that when you and your spouse are not speaking to each other, the devil is speaking to both of you. Number 3, unhealthy communication. I want you to notice 4 things here. First of all, Paul says, do not let any unwholesome word come out of your mouth. And so this could be cursing at the person, being overly critical of the person, being judgmental of the person, or just outbursts of anger. Any of these things will ultimately destroy and deteriorate your marriage. Second of all, he says, instead of that, be intentional about using your words to build the person up, affirm them, and encourage them. Third, he says, according to the need of the moment. And so he's basically saying here that we need to discern what is the right time to say whatever is on our heart. And then finally, he says, so that our words will give grace to those who hear. So now he's not talking about what we say or when we say it, but how we say it. So the tone of voice that we use can determine whether or not it is received positively or negatively. And number 4 is unforgiveness. Notice Paul says here to forgive each other just as Christ has forgiven you. And so let me speak to the singles for just a moment. If you're watching this video and you know you get your feelings hurt quickly, you get offended quickly, and it takes you a long time to extend forgiveness to someone else, you may want to consider whether marriage is for you, because things come up even on a daily basis that will require you to extend forgiveness to your spouse. Marriage, as one person defined it, is a continual act of forgiveness. So if you're dating, engaged, married, or in any type of relationship, I want to encourage you today to replace dishonesty with integrity, to replace anger with resolving conflict quickly, to replace unhealthy communication with positive affirmation and encouragement, and then finally to replace unforgiveness with forgiveness. I trust that whenever we start doing these things on a consistent basis, that our relationships will be all that God intended for them to be. If you know somebody that may be having a difficult time in their marriage, feel free to pass this video along to them. Also, if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you head over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what has worked for you in your relationships, or which one or ones that we talked about today you personally struggle with. Leave them in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Beat.